Hello friends, Double Uploader Worm here today to say something that I know a lot of people are not going to like. So brace yourselves. You don't need Necrochasm that bad. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, for some background on this video, I was strolling through forums and there were an absolute ungodly number of posts of people complaining about the Necrochasm drop rate, right? People saying it's too low, it's not fair, like it's miserable, I'm having to grind for hours and hours and hours before I even get one or two, and all this stuff. And I'm just like, I'm sitting here in my head, I'm going, oh my god, you people are cringy. Like the people that are saying this. Here's the thing, okay, about Necrochasm. Necrochasm, of course, if you don't know, New Raid Exotic has a quest tied to it. It's not tied to RNG, and we talked about this a couple weeks ago in our thoughts on the new Crotas in Raid and Necrochasm, stuff like that. But people feel this really weird and uncomfortable sense of entitlement to have Necrochasm, right? Like, everybody feels like, oh, well, because Necrochasm is now a quest, it's now a quest, we should be able to get it in one day, like basically every other exotic quest that there is. But remember, like, need I remind you, this is a raid exotic that we're talking about here, folks. Like, this is a raid exotic, okay? And I know that not every single one of you has every single raid exotic. Me personally, I am still waiting on 1K voices. Okay, I still do not have 1,000 voices, right? But I'm not, I don't sit here and complain about it. I could, I guess, but I also haven't killed Riven a whole lot, so I'm not too tripping up about it. But people, like, you don't have the chances that you have every single raid exotic is really low. Why are you not complaining about those raids, right? Like, oh, I still don't have, blah, 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 because I don't see people on the forums complaining about collective obligation, how they can't get a drop, or, what's the other one? Conditional finality and how it hasn't dropped. It's only Necrochasm. People are only complaining about Necrochasm because you can essentially farm for it. And players think that the drop rate is way too low. Well, the drop rate Bungie has confirmed is 1 per week per account, right? So at most, if you do Crotas in at least once a week, you'll get it in 20 weeks, which is, what is that, 4 months, roughly, 4 or 5, somewhere in there, right? And that, to me, I really don't think that's a bad thing, right? Because let's be honest, the majority of us raid 3 times a week on multiple characters. Last week, for example, I got, I think, either 4 or 5 essences during my 3 runs, right? 4 or 5, meaning that if I keep that rate up, which last night I got 2 in one of my runs, I will do another run tonight and I'll do another run tomorrow night. We'll see how many we get then. But if I keep up 4 to 5, it's, essences per week, it's going to get me there in about 4 weeks. That's a month, right? Actually, at this point, if I'm getting 4 or 5, it'll take me like 2, maybe 3 more weeks to get it. So less than a month. And why are people complaining? Like there's this sense of entitlement that players have in the Destiny community, and it's not everybody, okay? Like, if you're watching this and you're like, well, I'm not entitled, it's not everybody. Okay, if you're like me and you're not tripping about getting Necrochasm and you're not worried about the drop rate, it's fine. Just listen to the rant because it's fun to listen to, right? But if you're complaining about the drop rate, I seriously want to know what your thought process is, because it's a raid exotic that you literally can farm. Okay, like it's not like previous, not a conditional finality, for example. Pre this season, conditional finality is not farmable. You got 3 chances a week to get it, and if you didn't get it, you're SOL for another week, right? Essences of the Oversoul, which is how you get Necrochasm, can be farmed. Like, this is the first time ever that a raid exotic has been completely farmable from the get-go. And players are complaining about the drop rate, like you're entitled to get it within a week or 2. Like that's not appropriate. If you want it that bad, sit and grind out Crota for hours and hours and hours on it, because you don't have to do that, right? You can wait. You can do your 3 raids a week. Maybe you get, unlucky and only get 3 Oversouls one week. Maybe you get lucky and get 6 one week. I don't know, but you'll get it in just a couple of weeks just by doing 3 raids. Stop complaining about the drop rate for this, for the Oversouls, when Bungie has done a great thing by allowing us to farm it. Because Bungie could have said, you know what? Screw it. it is an RNG drop from Crota from now on. If they did that, I would be mad then, because at some point my raid luck is going to run out, and it's going to take me months to get it based on RNG drops, right? Again, like stop complaining about essences over the oversoul and how many it takes to get. Like, you're the one that chooses to sit at Ear Ute or at the Abyss encounter for hours on end farming for oversouls and complaining that you're not getting any when you've already got your guaranteed one per week, and you probably got more than one. Like, if you do the raid, I have yet to have a raid where I don't get any oversouls, right? Like typically the first run of the week I get between 2 and 3, and then on my subsequent runs I get 1 for each run per character, right? That to me is plenty more than enough. Like, I'm not sitting here whining and complaining about the drop rate. Like, yeah, like, would it be nice if Bungie upped the drop rate? Yes, absolutely. But then again, I mean, if they up the drop rate, like, it would take away from the exotic feel of the weapon. Like, you're not entitled to have Necrochasm because you grind the game a lot, or you're wasting all of your time that you get to play grinding the raid, right? Like, I will say I probably get to play more than the average player, right? I don't sit in Crota's End and grind for hours and hours and hours on end. Like, unless I need spoils, maybe then I'll do it. But at that point, I just go farm like Tanics or something that takes much faster to get spoils. I don't get it, guys. You know, we as a community, like people always talk about entitlement and, you know, oh, like, you know, like, well, you're just entitled, like, you know, your opinions are entitled, like, you don't like Antaeus wards, like, blah, 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 or you don't like this exotic, nerf this, buff that, blah, blah, blah. Like, people like to speak negatively about people who they feel are being entitled, right? Yet they themselves will turn around and talk about the essence of the oversoul drop raid like it's this horrible, awful thing. Like, my opinion, okay, and there's a lot of things that Bungie has done wrong in the past, but this is one of those things they've done right. The fact that we can grind the raid exotic is unheard of. Like, this has never ever been done before, except for, well, no, I take that back, never mind. I was gonna say except for Last Wish, where every time you kill Riven you can get a key to open a chest, but even that's not a thing anymore, or I don't think it ever was. But you've never been able to just sit in a raid and grind encounters out to potentially get the exotic. Like I know that there are players out there who have been at it every day for 8-9 hours a day grinding these encounters, who are almost to their Necrochasm or who have already achieved their Necrochasm. Again, that's you that's dedicating that time. Okay, that is your personal choice to dedicate that time. And Bungie does not need to, you know, respect your playtime. Bungie has already respected your playtime enough by making this a farmable weapon. It is a farmable raid weapon. You just have to do encounters. You have a very low percentage chance to get an essence. But the fact that you can do it over and over and over and over and over again that's plenty. And again, I'm not sitting here saying I wouldn't be happy if Bungie upped the, you know, the drop rate. Like, I would not be mad about that at all. That'd be fantastic. It'd help me get it faster. The main point of this video is people are complaining and whining that it's so low, but really, like, it's low for a reason. It is still a raid exotic. It's a raid exotic that you can essentially farm until you get it, right? That to me is more than enough. You know, I don't know. It's so aggravating to see all these people complaining about, oh, like, I've done the Abyss encounter 60 times. I've only got 3 essences or something like that. And it's like, what did you expect? Like, did you expect that you're going to be getting Essence of Oversoul literally, like, you know, every other run? I mean, it's wild. You know, farming for red borders, for example. Like, if you're farming for red borders in the Last Wish or, you know, Deepstone Crypt, which was last week's, which was where I was. Yeah, like, I guess maybe, you know, like, even then, I don't know. I don't feel like you have the right to complain, like, oh, like, I've done it 17 times and I haven't got a single red border. Like, yeah, like, that's kind of what Destiny's built on, is RNG, right? And the more high class, high tier, special the weapon, whatever, the more RNG there will be behind it in order to get it. And Necrochasm is one of those things. Okay, Necrochasm has a high amount of RNG behind it, but you are guaranteed to get it if you do your raids at just once a week. Kill Crota once a week. I don't even think you have to do the whole raid. You just have to kill Crota one time per week, and you will eventually get it, which I think is a fantastic system that they have. So yeah, stop complaining about oversold drop rates. Like I think it's fine where it is. You can farm it. It's your decision to sit there and farm it. Okay, regardless of how frustrating it is. Oh, I've farmed Abyss 60 times, only got 3 of them. Like, again, that's your decision to do, right? If you want it that bad, you're gonna grind it out and you're gonna get it. And guess what? The next thing, and this is a very, very important thing, is when you have grinded for weeks and weeks and weeks to get oversouls, or you've grinded for hours and hours and hours to get oversouls, and you finally get 20, Necrochasm is going to feel a lot more special to you, right? Like, look at any okay, sorry. Deep breath, Mr. Worm. Come on. Look at Presage and Dead Man's Tale. Now, Dead Man's Tale is a pretty cool weapon, but the sentiment behind it is just really not there. Why? Because literally anybody can go out and get it. Anybody can go out and do that exotic mission and get it, right? You know, but take something like, I don't know, Vex Mythoclast, Conditional Finality, where you have to go in and you have to do the raid multiple times. You have to master it. Again, my wife, I said this in a video last week or something, took her more than, or I think it was like 45 runs to finally get her Vex Mythoclast. She doesn't ever take that thing off. We got her the catalyst and everything. She literally never takes Vex Mythoclast off, right? Because it took all that time to grind and get it. That's what Bungie wants raid weapons to feel like. They want you to feel like, hey, like it took a long time, but we finally got it. And I would argue that this system where they have a quest where you can farm it every week makes it even more rewarding, because by the time you get it, if you've been grinding, you know, for 3 hours a day, 7 days a week, what is that? 21 hours in a week, you know, of just grinding the raid, and you get it in 2 weeks. Like, that's going to feel so very good to you as a player. Like, that's going to feel like appealing. It's going to make you feel like, oh yes, I finally did it. I got this thing, right? And RNG doesn't give you that sense. Like, maybe if you're my wife and you've waited for 45 runs and you finally get it, it's like, yes, I finally have got it. But with this system, like, if you want to wait 20 weeks, it'll be like, oh yeah, finally I got it. But if you grind for 20 plus hours a week in Crota's End alone, you know, and you finally get it, it's gonna feel so good when you finally get it. It's like, yes, I got it. That's what Bungie wants players to feel. That's the way I would want to feel. You know, anytime I do something, you know, if I'm grinding Grandmaster Nightfalls and I finally get the god roll of whatever it is that I'm looking for, you know, god rolled Buzzard, or this week's weapon is Warden's Law, and I finally get it, I get that sense of like, yes, I finally got it. I don't have to worry about it anymore. That's the way Bungie wants you to feel. That's why this quest is as tedious as it is, because it's farmable too. Okay, anyways, rant over. God, 13 minutes of talking about people complaining about Necrochasm. Lord, I'm turning into one of y'all. One of those people, sorry. I know, again, I know not everybody that's watching this video thinks that way, and I know a lot of you probably do think that the quest is just fine, which is fantastic. But let me know your thoughts on the quest. Like, are you one of the people that wants the drop rate upped? If so, I want a legitimate reason why, other than I just want to get it faster, because I think that's everybody's reason why, is I just want to get it faster, right? And because you want to get something faster does not mean that Bungie needs to up their drop rate for it, right? So like, Bungie ups the drop rates for things that are, you know, difficult to obtain. For example, back in Destiny 1, the Crux of Crota, which is part of the Necrochasm quest, had a very low drop rate at Crota. It was basically, you know, an RNG drop rate, just like any other exotic, right? That would be something, okay, I'd kind of complain about, right? Because like, it's a quest associated item that's also locked behind RNG, right? Necrochasm is, I guess, technically locked behind RNG, but at 20 weeks you're guaranteed to get it, because Bungie has come out and said you are guaranteed to get at least 1 essence of Oversoul per week. So yeah, if you want the drop rate upped, and you are like, not just if you want it up, but if you are like vehemently like frustrated that it's not higher, because obviously, like I said, I would love to have it upped too, because it would help me get my Necrochasm faster, right? And I'm sure that you watching this video would also like the rate to go up, because it would help you get it faster. But I'm talking to the people that are like legit frustrated or mad or pissed off or whatever that the drop rate is so low. Please give me a logical argument in the comments why. I do read all your comments. I'll probably respond to it, and maybe you change my mind. you know? And if you do, I'll tell you in the comments. If you change my mind, I'll tell you. But yeah, with that being said, that's it for this video. Rant over. I appreciate you coming and watching and sitting through my tirade on Necrochasm. If, of course, you liked the video or you found it entertaining in any way, shape, or form, drop a like. It helps the channel out a lot. Subscribe for more daily Destiny content and conversations such as this one. And do me a favor, watch the videos that you see on the end screen, because YouTube thinks that you will like them for whatever reason. And guys, that's it for me. I will see y'all tomorrow. Bye for now.